Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005 is the best arcade racing game I've ever played. Actually, it's the best racing game I've ever played. In fact, it's in my top 10 favorite games of all time alongside Pokemon Platinum, Animal Crossing Wild World, Persona 5, and Metaphor ReFantazio. But what's so special about this racer specifically? Why is it so beloved by many? In this video, I'm going to do a deep dive into the reasons why it's a special game, as well as give my history with it. So join me as we tackle a classic game that, even if you're not into the racing genre, is one that you should play at some point. Let me give you some background to this game and how it came to being. During the early to mid 2000s, EA was all in on the cartooner scene, thanks to mainly the Fast and the Furious. Due to this, EA let their development team, Black Box, to create the Need for Speed Underground titles and came out at the perfect time. JDM cars were all the rage during this period, and people were customizing their cars, modifying their rides with aftermarket body parts, tuning, and adding performance upgrades. Car culture during this time was very unique, especially with JDM sports cars, and is why the Underground titles focused heavily on that side of car culture. After the success of those titles, Black Box wanted to take the Need for Speed name in a different direction, still focusing on tuning and modifying, but with a different style and aesthetic. Gone was the colorful and neon-lit undercarriages of vehicles, heavy selection of Japanese cars, and nighttime racing. Instead, there was a world that was filled with grit, grunge, metal, punk, and brown. Themes and genres the 2000s was also filled with, especially during the middle of the decade. Furthermore, Black Box wanted to make this game more than a title that switched from nighttime to daytime racing, but a game that put heavy focus both story and gameplay wise, the police. A crucial element to what makes this game amazing and is the main reason why this game is titled Most Wanted. The story of Most Wanted begins with you, the player, in a race while being chased by the cops. Not so long after, you get a call that something wrong is going on with your car, and the screen suddenly fades to black. The plot rewinds a bit before that race, and it shows you entering the city of Rockport for the first time with your BMW M3 GTR race car. Now, where did you get this extremely rare unicorn of a race car? Who knows and who cares? What matters is that it's your car, and it's awesome. Anyways, you're driving alongside a girl when suddenly a cop stops you. This is where you're introduced to Sergeant Cross and his partner, who work for the Rockport Police Department. He tells you that street racing will soon be over in the city, and as he's about to arrest you, a race nearby stops him and you go on your merry way. The game's cutscenes uses live action with real actors and heavy use of effects to match the game's aesthetic. These characters are so memorable, and you can just tell the actors had a great time recording this. It's cheesy and over the top, but it works. It just works, especially for its time. Going on with the theme is the very brownish look to the game. It matches the theme it's going for, but sadly, games during this time period were all starting to look very brown at the same time, such as Resident Evil 4 or Call of Duty. But standalone, it works in Most Wanted's case. Soon after, you race a dude named Ronnie, an iconic character might I add, and after the race, we're introduced to Razor, aka the number 15 guy on the blacklist, aka Clarence. Oh, and you're introduced to Mia as well, the girl that you see in the beginning of the game. But before you race him, you face his boy Bull, and meet Rog, a racer who becomes your friend. The timeline moves back to the present where you face Razor when suddenly your car breaks down. He then takes your precious BMW and Cross puts you under arrest. However, not so long after, you're immediately released and Mia tells you that Razor used your car to climb the blacklist and it's up to you to make your way to the top to beat Razor and to get your ride back. So the blacklist is basically Rockport's 15 most notorious racers, and your goal in the game is to beat everyone on that list. This is done not only by just participating in racing events, but also engaging in police pursuits and increasing your bounty. You're not just climbing the list to beat every member, but also making your name known to Rockport that you are the menacing street racer that must be taken down at all costs. That's pretty much the goal and plot of the story. It's a racing game after all, what do you expect? But despite the simple plot, I like how it's not just you trying to be the number one racer. The game wants you to feel the need to take out Razor and get your car back. Plus, it wants you, as the game's title suggests, to be the most wanted by messing with the police in pursuits and gaining notoriety. So, after losing your car, you're taken to the lot where you buy new wheels. Your options being a Lexus IS300, Fiat Punto, Chevy Cobalt, and if you got the extra cash from having a Need for Speed Underground 2 save file, you'll have enough to also buy the Volkswagen GTI. For this run, I chose the Cobalt as my starter car. Not the best, but don't worry, it's only temporary. In the meantime, check out the monstrosity I created. You're then thrown into the main chunk of the game. Every Blacklist member requires the player to complete a certain amount of race events, milestones, and have accumulated enough bounty to challenge them. So you participate in race events and engage in police pursuits. Now, I want to explain pursuits later on in its own segment because I have a lot to say about that feature. But races are self-explanatory. There are different types ranging from sprint races where you race from point A to point B, circuit events where you race in laps, toll booth events which are essentially time trials, speed traps where the goal is to have the highest amount of speed accumulated at the end of the event, knockouts where every lap removes the last place racer, and drag races which focus on changing gears at the right time as you maneuver through traffic. You can use your earnings to get new cars, buy upgrades, and customize your vehicle. This game doesn't feature a lot of cars available to use, but the selection here is pretty diverse. You have sports cars and supercars, especially ones that were new during that time period, spanning across different auto manufacturers. This is nice considering Underground used mainly Japanese brands, but it makes sense considering what those games were going for. Every time I do a new playthrough of Most Wanted, I like changing and using different cars per save file. So for this run, I wanted to use the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 8. It's not the Evo 9, aka my beloved, but it's an Evo nonetheless. By the way, here's the final build of my car. Let me know what you think in the comments. It's one thing to have an awesome car, but we have to remember that in a racing game, we want driving to feel good. And Most Wanted has the best arcade driving physics I have ever played. Driving in this game is reliant on gripping through corners and a lot less drifting. Steering does not feel numb whatsoever, and I feel that I always have the perfect amount of control for my car. Handling is very important in racing games as it can make or break whether the game is playable or not. What's the point of going fast if you can't turn your car properly? Unfortunately, lots of racing games both before and after Most Wanted's release can never perfect the handling mechanics that this game has. There's always numbness, or the game relies on drifting because regular steering is just not responsive enough. Again, what's the point of going fast when turning is a pain? But Most Wanted makes handling just right. Not only that, but you have an ability called Speed Breaker that comes in handy as you can use it to slow down time to help better position yourself, such as gripping through tight corners or dodging traffic last minute. The physics are also altered during this time period, allowing for freer movement. Driving in Rockport, I feel that I always have a lot of room to breathe as I can really push my car to its limits. Running at 200 miles per hour feels amazing while still having just enough control when taking a corner. Even when you're not driving that fast, the city itself still has a good balance of straightaways and tight corners for your car to play in. It feels amazing driving in this game, and whenever I crash into a wall or traffic, I feel that it's my fault that I didn't maneuver properly and not the game's fault due to horrible handling mechanics. Going back to the blacklist, after we meet certain requirements, we can challenge the blacklist members, each one having their own personalized car and domain they hail in. I also like how every member has a song from the game's soundtrack associated with them too, and watching the bios are just amazing. Brief tangent, but the soundtrack in this game is amazing and you have to listen to it. There's more focus on rock and metal, which fits the whole industrial aesthetic to the game. However, you still do have other genres of music as well. I'm not gonna play any of it for obvious reasons, but when you're listening to songs like Decadence, Hand of Blood, or Blinded in Chains while rolling at high speeds, you feel this tense yet determined energy to win a race, and there's no other explanation I can provide but for you to just feel it for yourself. Anyways, every time you beat a member, you can unlock new cars and upgrades, or in some cases, a new location in Rockport to explore. That being Point Camden and the downtown areas, each having their own set of key locations. You also have markers you can choose from that unlock special parts or vinyls, as well as junkman parts that permanently boost your car's performance. Plus, you have mystery markers that can also give you things like extra cash, extra impound strikes, etc. But the best marker, hands down, is the pink slip one that gives you the boss car for that specific blacklist member you beat. These cars are awesome, and I think aesthetically, they all look very cool too. Not all of them, not really a big fan of Taz, Vic, or Ronnie's cars, but I do really like Ming's Lamborghini Gallardo, JV's Dodge Viper, and of course, Earl's Mitsubishi Evo, aka my beloved. The blacklist members themselves aren't really that challenging, but I do remember Earl being hard because the performance upgrades available for your cars at that point in the game aren't really that great, and Earl for some reason has weird rubber banding near the end of his final race. But I can forgive him because he's driving the Evo. Luckily for me, I did beat him my first go around for this video, but that was probably due to the fact that I beat him at his own game with my own Evo with Junkman parts added, so it wasn't a big deal. Climbing the blacklist is actually just a rinse and repeat process that can get quite repetitive, especially later on where I think the padding is a bit much. However, it's still enjoyable. And we haven't even discussed the other part of Need for Speed Most Wanted, police pursuits. Pursuits are all about evading the police once engaged without getting busted. You can start a pursuit in several ways. One is by running into them in the overworld, which they can spawn by causing enough destruction where then a dispatcher receives calls and complaints about you that the police will then be on the lookout. Another way is just simply by opening the menu and just starting a pursuit. But finally, you can also start a pursuit while in a race event that has police activity. What's interesting about this is that the cops will chase you as you try to complete the event. Even when the event is over, the police chase will continue where you left off and you still need to escape before you can do anything else. You can't open the menu screen and go back to your safe house or select another event. You're trapped there until the pursuit is over. Here's a neat trick though. If you want to complete the event without dealing with the cops afterwards, when the event is over and you get that photograph screen, instead of continuing, just restart the event and then quit. The game still counts the event as already completed and you don't have to be in a pursuit. However, while in a police pursuit, you can complete milestone challenges by trading paint, running through roadblocks, increasing your cost to state, etc. Depending on how far you are in the game, your heat level can increase further, allowing the police to use even more force and tactics to stop you. Pursuits are what makes Most Wanted most wanted. It's one of the core features that Black Box wanted to emphasize, and there's a lot to love about it. First off, police will do anything to stop you. They will throw and bash their cars all about, and they will tail you as long as they can. They have unique tactics like rolling roadblocks where they get in front of you and hit the brakes, and they can also box you in like a swarm so that you don't move. But you do also have tactics of your own that you can utilize. You can of course outspeed the cops and escape, but knowing your way around the city is just as important. Knowing how to outmaneuver the cops and using your speed breaker to crush roadblocks with ease. When in the evading phase, you can find hiding spots that can speed up cooldown time. You can also utilize pursuit breakers that work great when a lot of cops are near you, and the breakers will destroy any cop that happens to be in the way. We're talking about radio towers, construction zones, and gas stations even. And you want to use pursuit breakers for higher heat levels especially. At higher heat levels, the police can send in rhino units to smash your vehicle to throw you off, add spike strips to roadblocks, and even helicopters that can swoop in to hit you. At heat level 5, Cross can even join in on the pursuit, and you can also hear him on the police radio. Speaking of that police radio, it is one of the most natural and organic sounding radio chatters I have ever heard in any game, period. These cops sound like actual cops talking to one another, and they even have a 10 code they use. The way they talk and react will depend on how you drive and mess with them. The more trouble you cause, the more annoyed and aggressive they become. But it's more than just voice actors role-playing. The radio chatter also clues you in on what's going on in the pursuit. You can hear what tactics they plan on using, like where the roadblock will be set up, and you can also hear the dispatcher talk about your location, in real time mind you, updating the cops about your whereabouts and the situation. Even before a pursuit begins, the dispatcher can even call out the make and model of your vehicle, like in my case, where I had a purple Mitsubishi, and the dispatcher says that I have a purple Mitsubishi. There's so much police dialogue recorded in this game that it's amazing. They recorded every location, every car, every color of that car, and then some. The radio chatter and tactics are all dynamic. It's beautiful. To wrap this all up, every chase has intense music that plays in the background. That's also dynamic. Depending on how you're driving or if the cops are about to bust you, the music will adapt to the situation as well, and it's just perfect. To put this all into perspective, just watch and listen to the gameplay that has all of these elements blended together at heat level 5. It's insane.
He was monitoring. He's detailed. He should be there shortly. There he is. He just went by me. I got him. X-ray 11. Pulling up right behind you. He's, stand by. He's going right into the stadium. Breaching 1037. I'm taking. Be advised, we're into reserve tanks right now. If the vehicle isn't stopped in the next couple of months, we'll have to call this chase. Blocked in blocks. Blocked in blocks. Suspect still illegal. 2 Echo 12. Heads up. Road up ahead is blocked off.
And now you can see why this game is so fun. Alright, so at the near end of the game, we finally challenge Razor as he uses our BMW that we want back. He really isn't that challenging, and I got my beloved Evo with Junkman parts added, so it was no issue. When we win, the game doesn't end yet. Razor doesn't hand the keys, but thanks to Mia we do, and just in time because Cross has arrived and he wants everyone to stop you.
I want every single unit after the guy.
Everyone?
Everyone!
This is the final challenge of the game. Not a race, but a pursuit against the whole entire police force that Cross sends at you with your BMW back in your hands. The whole game built up to this very moment, and it's epic. Think about it. You just got your car back, you're at heat level 6, Corvettes and Rhinos are all over the place, spike strip roadblocks are set up everywhere, helicopters hovering over you, and Cross right behind you. It's intense and crazy. Everyone wants your head. Just watch what's going on in this pursuit.
This guy is crashing the gas box. We got major smoke coming from a gas station. Okay, great. Actually, 1023 with pursuit. Hold him down, coming in. He's still mobile, I'm on him.
Looks like there's nowhere to run, but Mia lets you know about an old bridge that you can use to escape, so you head there and make a daring jump, escaping Rockport for good. Soon after, Cross logs you in as a threat at the national level due to all the chaos you made, and you become the most wanted. So that's the end of the game, and man, this title is just pure chaotic fun. I love the idea about you trying to beat the blacklist, not just to be the most notorious street racer out there, but also to get your car back. And I really like how you really are the villain of the game. Cross and Razor are definitely your antagonists, Cross being the police adversary and Razor being the racer adversary, but you really are just a nuisance to the whole entire city. You entered Rockport, caused a lot of trouble to everyone, got your car, and then dipped out. It's great. Let's talk about that car for a brief sec. The BMW M3 GTR. This is such an iconic car that has been seen in other Need for Speed titles that came after it because of how beloved Most Wanted was and is to many fans of the series. This car has an iconic livery as well, making it very distinguishable alongside the amazing sound from its V8 engine and straight cut gears. Many fans have tried replicating this car, and even BMW themselves acknowledged this and recreated the look themselves with their M3 GTR race car that was on display in Germany. This video isn't over quite yet because I got some fun stories I want to tell about this game and maybe inspire you to try it out if the video so far wasn't enough to convince you. So my first experience with this game was at a party in a hotel. I remember me and the other kids were put into this hotel room that had an Xbox 360 and in it was Need for Speed Most Wanted. This was sometime around 2006, not so long after Most Wanted released, and I recall seeing that BMW in the beginning and was stunned to see this cool game I've never seen. Now, I knew what Need for Speed was. My first game was Hot Pursuit 2 on PlayStation 2, but this game looked very mesmerizing to me. Not so long after, I was at the store with my family and I saw Most Wanted on the shelf. My parents bought the game for me alongside Dance Dance Revolution Extreme 2 with the dance pad. Awesome game, by the way. Unlike the Xbox 360 version I saw at the hotel, I got the PS2 version, which was slightly downgraded in terms of aesthetics, but otherwise it was the same game. I played this game a ton. One special memory I have was with Ming. I really wanted his Lamborghini back then, and I just knew performance-wise it was a good car in-game before I knew anything about what the best cars were. However, every time I beat him, I could never win his car. And another issue was that sometimes the game would freeze whenever I tried to select a mystery marker. I persisted, and I even brought my game and memory card to my cousin's house during a sleepover just to get Ming's car. My cousin kept encouraging me to keep trying, but even he saw the game freezing when I selected a marker. I eventually gave up and I didn't get the car, guessing it wasn't meant to be. The funny thing was, every time I selected any other marker that wasn't the pink slipped one, the game would just continue progressing. I didn't question it, I just moved on. Not so long after, I faced Webster and I noticed that the game froze again when I selected a mystery marker. And that's when I learned the sad truth. My game would freeze whenever I selected the mystery marker that had the boss's car. Before Ming, it wasn't an issue to get the boss cars, but with him, the game just didn't allow me, and now Webster as well. I looked at my game disc and I noticed that it was probably due to the scratch on the back that the PlayStation 2 couldn't read. I can select any marker, any mystery marker, any Junkman, vinyl, anything, except the pink slip one. That really crushed me. I can't make this up. It really did happen, and I wondered if this was something that other players had, but I do know this was something that I had to deal with. So I put the game down and left it for a while, incomplete. Several years later, I found a used copy of the Xbox 360 version at a GameStop, so I decided that I would try again to beat the game, and at this point I had a 360 console and wanted to play the game with higher quality textures and higher definition. This time, I beat the game not so long after obtaining my copy. In fact, the gameplay you're seeing right now is my original copy from all those years ago with the same Xbox 360. This is the best version of the game in my opinion, but I believe the PC version is just as good. Should you play Need for Speed Most Wanted? If you can, please play it. It's special. It's not just another arcade racer. Like I stated earlier, the game's handling mechanics and sense of speed are amazing. Pair that with an iconic soundtrack of the time and an industrial/punk aesthetic with a plot revolving around you being the baddest racer out there with an iconic car, mind you, and you're in for a treat. It reminds me of a time when arcade racers were very influential in the gaming scene, and nowadays, arcade racers have disappeared due to changing of the times and interests moving elsewhere. Racing games are now more focused on the simulation aspect of racing, but not arcade-like, and is mainly catered towards those who are really into cars and professional racing. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I want to see racing games that even casuals love playing. The racing genre as a whole hasn't been doing well in recent years. There aren't really any good high-quality racing games, both simulation and arcade-wise. The only one that I can think of that's doing well is Gran Turismo 7, but even that game has its own set of flaws with game progression, cost of vehicles, and the live service element. I know we have Forza as well, and Forza Horizon 6 has been announced recently, but due to the racing genre's track record as a whole, I'm still quite skeptical. There's even Mario Kart and Sonic Racing, but that's it when it comes to higher budget arcade racing games. But it isn't enough. What happened to games like Split Second, Blur, Wave Racer, Ridge Racer, Midnight Club, Test Drive, and even Need for Speed itself? And the ones that have seen releases recently, such as Test Drive the Solar Crown, are just not good. Even simulation racers like Project Motor Racing are just not functional or fun to play. Most Wanted was a game that many casuals loved while also not really being big car enthusiasts. You boot up the game, it works, it feels great, with cool themes, cool music, and cool cars. Anyone, car enthusiasts or not, they want to drive their dream cars, they want to customize cars they want to build in real life. I don't need my racing games to have realistic driving physics or gimmick mechanics, and it definitely doesn't need realistic looking graphics. I want it to be fun and replayable, a reason to always keep playing without microtransactions and DLC updates to make me come back. From time to time, I go back to playing older games like Need for Speed Most Wanted because it's engaging. The world in-game is fun to drive in. The music makes driving fast epic. Handling is top notch. There are lovable characters. There are just about under 40 playable cars, but I love using a different car in every new playthrough. Nowadays, Most Wanted's graphics are outdated for sure, but I don't care because it's fun. Not just because of nostalgia. It had identity, and it knew what it wanted to be. Again, racing games don't need to showcase the highest graphics or realism, or to send a message. It just needs to be fun. But how do developers know what is fun and engaging? Well, look no further than games like Most Wanted. Yes, I want my games to still be innovative, but if those innovations are implemented or forced via gimmicks, then I'll just take a pass on it. Game developers should take note of Most Wanted's success because it worked. It sold over 18 million copies, and for the racing genre, that's an accomplishment. And one day, I hope the racing genre as a whole can return to form in the future, regardless if it's an arcade or simulation racer. When all hope is lost, remember to find the most memorable racing game out there. The one that became the most beloved of a franchise. The most rich in content despite the limited car selection. The most talked about racing game out there. The racing game with the most identity. The most wanted racing game we crave for. Need for Speed Most Wanted. One of, if not the best racing game ever made. Alright, it's now the end of the video. I hope everyone can see why Most Wanted is so special to me and is probably the greatest racing game ever created. That's debatable for sure, but in my eyes it isn't. I love this game, and it played a major role in why I love cars and the racing genre. Have you played Most Wanted? And if so, what are your thoughts, because I want to hear them. And if you made it to the end of this video, thanks for watching, because I had a lot to say about it, alongside other favorites like Animal Crossing and Pokemon. This game means a lot to me. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Remember to stay calm and stay chill, everyone.